Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna
Haribo Haribo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Everyone. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Hare Rama. Hey, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let's do it together, all together, one voice. Go! Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Again, everybody together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody! Hare Krishna, Krishna, oh, Hare Hare. With your hearts, everybody. Rama Rama, Hare. Okay. Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Put your hands in the air, everybody. Last time, together, one more time. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bo.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you all for coming this beautiful day. The sun is shining bright, beautiful outside, and we are expecting the same inside. Bright and beautiful because of the presence of beautiful devotees gracing us today, their association, hearing from them, hearing Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada says hearing is the most powerful sense in the world. So let's utilize that sense today. So today we have this special Sadhu Sanga evening with His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj and His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu. His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu is already here. Please can you all welcome him? His Grace Vash. Prabhu, if I can have you here, please. Yeah. And so the plan for the evening is, the theme today is books are the basis. Srila Prabhupada has worked hard, toiled hard to write these books. He's been awake all night writing these books, as we all know. And in one of the letters, actually, Srila Prabhupada writes that there are two things that are very, very important for our mission. What are those two things? One is, the first one he says, are the devotees, of course, because that is what makes the mission live. That is what makes the mission moving, as we call as the movement. And the second thing he says are the books. And he says the books actually help to purify our intelligence. And the intelligence then further purifies our mind and our heart. And a purified mind and a purified heart is what Krishna consciousness is all about. So let's hear today from these beautiful souls. It's Manor's 50th anniversary, 50 years. And we are all, as you know, we are all pampered and spoiled actually this year with devotees gracing us one after the other. They're coming from all over the world. They're traveling to give us their blessings, to give us their association, to share their experience with us. And today we have His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu. And as I know, actually I'm quite fascinated to know that Prabhu actually joined Krishna Consciousness because he received a Back to Godhead magazine at the age of 16. So Prabhu, maybe if you can just expand on that. That was very interesting for me to know. And then now he and his wife, he's been like since 1973, as I know, you've been connected and you've been practicing, and both of them actually are now guiding a community of 300 grahasthas in America, So, so please welcome him with 3 loud Haribols. And of course, before we go to Vaisesika Prabhu, before he begins, I'd like to invite Mother Vishakha. She's here to guide us through the Mangalacharan and of course say a few words of welcome, and then we will hear from His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvasesa Sunyavadi Paskya Tadesha Tarane. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you all so much for coming this evening. We're very delighted that you're here, and we really welcome His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami. This morning after the Bhagavatam class, I was thinking that Srila Prabhupada made such extraordinary disciples, so dedicated, so exemplary, so knowledgeable. We're very fortunate to have them in honor of our 50th anniversary. And this certainly is a way for us to become purified, to become enthused in our devotional life by hearing from these exemplary sadhus who have been following so sincerely, with such dedication, their spiritual master for so many years. and have really immersed themselves in the process of Krishna consciousness and can convey that to others with such effectiveness so they can inspire our hearts as their hearts have been inspired. So thank you very much for joining us. We're honored to have you. Please come often and stay long.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. It's an honor to be here. Thank you very much, everyone, for assembling and for carrying on with the transcendental vibration here in the world. It's the most important work that anyone can do. I first offer my respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and to all the assembled devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripasindavevacha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. We are, can you see a screen behind me? Okay. We're engaged in a mission, and the mission is to cover the earth with Krishna consciousness. Someone may say, well, that sounds quite lofty, and it is. But when Prabhupada thought to leave India and spread Krishna consciousness in America and then all over the world, that also sounded lofty, didn't it? Or mightn't it have at the time? Say yes. In fact, many thought that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said every town and village, it probably meant every town and village in India. Because it's often difficult to conceive how one might do something. However, it's not so difficult when we think of the will of the Supreme and how, if we try to enact the will of the Supreme, that He will help us. So we have a team here in Europe, and we have a legacy to follow. Srila Prabhupada's pranam mantra mentions it. That's Paschatya Deshatarane. There's a way in which he came to the places that were most unfamiliar and perhaps even resistant to Krishna consciousness in order to spread the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's what Shukadev Goswami did also after he learned the Bhagavatam, is he went out of a sense of mercy to give others the opportunity to hear it and to perfect their lives. We're the recipients of knowledge that comes down to us. The word sampradaya means the most complete gift. And we are in a line of gift givers. Good work if you can get it. People often want to give something, but they don't know the value of what they're giving, and oftentimes the value is substandard. Sampradaya means that we're giving that gift which is the most effective, most valuable to any soul in the world. And it gets passed down by the goodwill of those who imbibe it and then personally go out and administer it to others. How did the Krishna consciousness movement get started? This is a good study, don't you think? How would one restart the Hare Krishna movement? That might also be a good study if one were put in a place where one was being depended upon to start or restart the Hare Krishna movement. How would you all do it? I'll give you a hint. It's on this slide. What did Advaita Acharya do to start the Hare Krishna movement? If you can answer that. Pray, and how hard should you pray? Really hard. So his loud cries invited Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come to the world. And he offered some tulsi leaves and Ganges water, because he had found a verse that said, if you do that, then the Lord will sell himself to you. Advaitacharya had an interest in saving the conditioned souls. He's Mahavishnu himself. He has a connection to the material world by his glance. He puts everything in motion, and he's concerned for the conditioned souls. The prayers personified Vedas say that the greatest pastime of the Lord actually is his saving the conditioned souls from the material world. So Advaitacharya was the inaugurator of this. This means the Sankirtan movement. And anyone can do this by crying out to the Lord. So what happened? As a result, Mahaprabhu appeared. And he came up with a formula that's easy to follow. Recently, when I was visiting with my good friend, the stellar devotee, Radhika Raman Prabhu, who lives in Utah, he told me that in philosophy, if you have a philosophy that makes your head spin but you have no access to it, then the philosophy is useless. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophical system, and that of which is the same as the Bhagavatam, is the most detailed and aesthetically beautiful of any other philosophy in the world. Lofty as well, but it's also accessible. And that's the perfection of any philosophy. Pratyakshavagaman dharmyam, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, that this is something that even you can participate in, speaking to anyone in the world who has the ears to hear. So here are the two parts to the Hare Krishna movement, and they will be on a quiz. So please pay attention. Are you ready? Yes. Okay, I'm not convinced that you're ready at all. All right. 33% is not bad. The rest of you can cover your ears. Okay, part one of the Hare Krishna movement is chant Hare Krishna. Did you get it? Yes. Part two is teach others. You got it? Yes. Okay, here comes the quiz. Ready? Part one. Part one. Part one. Part two. Part one. Part two. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, if I wake you up at 1:30 in the morning and say, what are the two tenets of the Hare Krishna movement, you'll say? That's our program. We chant Hare Krishna, teach others. There's a little prasadam involved in the middle. But this is our basic program. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made it very simple, where he could go barefoot from village to village and teach people. Chant Hare Krishna and then teach others. In fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu opened a marketplace for the holy name. Marketing is a science that requires quantitative and qualitative reasoning skills. You have to plan in marketing to develop market share. You have to look at statistics to see how you're doing so you can measure what gets measured, gets increased. And you also have to have an aesthetic sense that what you're presenting to people is something that they'll like and appreciate. So marketing's a wide scope, a mission with many aspects to it. And that was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's interest, to market it to all the souls of the world. After all, everyone else does it in the material world, but they're giving something that's substandard. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission was quite large. His mission statement and the scope of his marketing plan is quite broad. What would you say it is? Hint, it's on the screen. Yes, every town and village means in every language. There are many languages in the world, and how will we communicate the philosophy of Krishna consciousness without translating it into various languages? As we see in the picture here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing down the streets of Miami, Florida, which is indicative of the scope of the Krishna consciousness movement. After Chaitanya Mahaprabhu disappeared from the world. As is the case when any great acharya or avatar leaves, there's a sense of darkness. However, the Goswamis, who had codified the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and carried it on themselves through various disciplic lines, after some time, there was a way in which the movement became hidden. For quite some time, as Krishna tells Uddhava in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, over a period of time, the message becomes degraded and it has to be refreshed. It's something he says also in the Bhagavad Gita. And Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, whose divine disappearance day, it will be on Monday, is the one who resurfaced or brought to the surface the Krishna consciousness movement as presented by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wrote over 100 books. He wrote thousands of poems and songs, each one of them a top hit. He was an extraordinary acharya. He had more than 10 children. He was a high court judge. And he was a spiritual genius empowered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he discovered the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and brought the teachings of Lord Chaitanya to the world, then it became viable again to become a Hare Krishna devotee. In fact, he sent books to various universities and to luminaries of the time, like Thoreau and Emerson. One book was until recently in a university in Canada. I think a well-meaning devotee purloined that book and probably has it on his or her altar somewhere. He declared at Surabhi Kunj, the marketplace of the holy name is again open. You can say Haribol. And then he prayed, of course, for a ray of Vishnu, meaning he understood Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could empower somebody, one of his family members, to spread the Krishna consciousness movement, predicted that a personality would soon appear. Meanwhile, there were other great Vaishnavas keeping the transcendental vibration going. The Krishna conscious movement is never lost, but like a waterfall, sometimes is flowing profusely and at other times it's restricted according to the season. Similarly, the Krishna conscious movement pours forth at some times and other times it's held back, but there's always pure devotees walking the earth, otherwise the earth, according to Vedic Shastras, would cease to be important or to exist. Meanwhile, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the great spiritual luminary who fulfilled the wish of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur for a ray of Vishnu to appear in the world, came forth and caused that marketplace, as conceived by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as revived by Bhaktivedanta Thakur, to swell all over India. The Gaudiya Math was a huge success. Philosophically, he brought to the fore the details of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings, and he also gave dignity once again to Gaudiya Vaishnavism, which had fallen into disrepute because of it being compromised by people who are unscrupulous. All glories to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakurs, of whom we are all followers and descendants in the Krishna consciousness movement. When Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's disciple met him and asked what he could do, who do you think that disciple was? That's right. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, if you ever get money, buy a motorboat. Sorry, these glasses may not be working. I'm trying to see the screen. He said, if you ever get money, then get a horse. Buy horses. Is that what he said? No? Only 2 of you think no? No, Vaisesika. If you ever get money, print books. Yes? Okay, 5 of you think that's the case. That's a very specific instruction, and exactly what Prabhupada did. When he came to America, there wasn't a lot of money. Devotees would go out and sell a mimeographed copy of the Back to Godhead magazine for 25 cents, do a little collection here or there. After some time, devotees collected a little, and then they, on Prabhupada's order, found one property. You might know this, but the first property in ISKCON was a house on Beacon Street in Boston. And the reason that Prabhupada purchased it, the sole reason, was he wanted to move a printing press into the house. In fact, Prabhupada's dear disciple, Narayan Prabhu, who passed away recently, was called to the scene from the West Coast, and he came because he was a builder, and he reinforced the floor just so the house could withstand the weight of the printing press that Prabhupada moved in. Meanwhile, Prabhupada had sent 10 of his disciples into New York City to apprentice, to learn how to print books, as he wanted them all to know everything about printing so they could then run the press. This was Prabhupada following the exact order of his spiritual master, which was, if you ever get money, okay, we'll try it one more time. Let's try to get full participation because it'll sound really interesting. If you ever get money, yeah, that's correct. So Prabhupada said, I took this from his mouth, that he is very fond of books. This is a very moving slide because there's a way in which when one discovers a pure devotee whom one would like to emulate and follow, whose activities one would like to emulate and who one wishes to follow and serve, and then one gets a clear order, then one's life becomes very purposeful. And Srila Prabhupada had this purpose. He made the marketplace spread all over the world. And when he came to America, he had with him only books. The books he had printed in India, and before he would take that perilous journey on a cargo ship, alone and in ill health, he had trunks full of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is a pamphlet that Prabhupada used to advertise the first printing of his Bhagavatam, which is in 3 volumes, the first canto. Can you read what it says? 60 volumes of elaborate English version. At the time, he only had 3 volumes, but he advertised for 60. Prabhupada wasn't one to wait around to say, well, wait till you get 60 volumes. He already knew there'd be 60 volumes, and so he advertised for it. In fact, as devotees began to sell books a little later, they sold full sets of Prabhupada's books before they were even written. They were called standing orders. They sold them to universities. And Prabhupada said, all over the world for scientific knowledge of God. Keep in mind that he was alone with no money. But he said, all over the world for scientific knowledge of God. Prabhupada said, I want everyone to be immersed in this inundation of love of Godhead. Excuse me, this is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I'm making a parallel here in the next couple of slides. So this is what Prabhupada writes in the Chaitanya Charitamrita is the Lord's plan. He says so. And he says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has stated, I want everyone to be immersed in this inundation of love of Godhead. Now here's Prabhupada's plan, and you tell me if it sounds parallel. By printing books, we can actually inject our movement into the masses of people all over the world. Shall we examine again? Lord Chaitanya's plan, I want everyone to be immersed in this inundation of love of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada's plan, by printing books, we can actually inject our movement into the masses of people all over the world. I'm going to speed up because I have a feeling that at any time this could we could run out of time. So we are from the Sampradaya of the book. I wrote a book a couple of years ago called Our Family Business. And in researching it, I came to know from a devotee scholar, Rabindra Sarup Prabhu, in his research he found that our Sampradaya is called the Sampradaya of the book. Let me prove to you how true that is. Please view this picture for a second and see if you notice anything out of place or anachronistic about it. Lord Brahma's beginning of the universe. No print shops. What do you find that's out of order there? Yeah, he's holding a book in his hand. That's deliberate. The artists in our Sampradaya, they put a book in Brahma's hand because we're called the Sampradaya of the book, which means that our business, our family business, is to disseminate knowledge, which will untangle the labyrinthine knots that trouble the conditioned souls. Now, I want you to participate, if you would, for a moment and help me out. You can answer with either books or book when I ask you the following questions, and I'm going to show you pictures that will be an aid to your making these proclamations. Are you ready? Okay. This is Srila Vyasadeva. What is he writing? Pretty good. Who's this? What's he holding in his hand? That is correct. Who is this? What's he kneeling before? Correct. Who is this? What's he sitting there writing? Correct. Who is this? What are they famous for and what are they holding in their hands? Correct. Who's this? Now I just noticed this myself. What's he posing with? Correct. Who is this? Oh my God, I'm noticing a lot about these pictures. What's behind him? What's he posing with? Correct. Who is this? And what's he posing with? Yes, dear devotees, we're called the Sampradaya of the book for a reason. Because this is the main contribution that we make to the world, is spiritual education. But why books? Well, here's some books that changed the world. The book that sold per capita more than any other book in the world, still to this day, it's a world record, is called Common Sense. And it was sold in the colonies, hate to bring that up, sold in the colonies as a book written by Thomas Paine regarding, it's well written, by the way, worth a read. It inspired everyone to rise up for, can I even say it here? The American Revolution. Don't mind. According to historians, he galvanized the people of the colonies who otherwise felt hapless and subjected to the crown so many leagues across the sea. Leagues are deep, not across. But in any case, it fomented revolution, and today we have America because of that. Interesting to note, too, that America is also based on a document that's in the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. It's what holds together the whole system. One document signed. Of course, there are a few amendments after it, but it's all in writing. How about this book? Have you ever heard of evolution? Only 3 people? All right, so 3 people have heard of it. How many of you here have the book in your home? Raise your hand if you have the book in your home. Are you students? Yeah, okay. Everyone else, you have it in your car, right? How many of you here have read The Origin of the Species? How many of you here have heard of evolution? So how did that happen? Because somebody took the time to organize thoughts, put them in a book. Books are powerful. They change economic systems. As soon as you write a paper, well thought out. Nobody takes time to do that. Practice is very rare. Everyone has a suggestion. They want to catch you in the hallway and say, hey, I got a complaint. Say, write a paper. It's like, nah, I don't think so. But if somebody writes a book, that has a monumental effect on human society. And they can be translated in many languages, can go all over the world. Previously, people expressed themselves in writing, and they did it by hand. In fact, the early books were written on palm leaves in India with a stylus. A little metal stylus, you had to push down on the leaf, and it would make an impression, and then when the leaf was placed in the sun, then it would turn dark. And you can imagine the dexterity it would take and the patience to write a whole book like that by hand. And then came along the printing press. The first people on earth to desire a printing press were, fill in the blank, the Christians. Yeah, they were German. So the Gutenberg press, but the main impetus was to print Bibles. One of the reasons that Lutheranism spread all over the world was because of papers written. One of the reasons that the Bibles, according to that the Christianity spread around the world was because of the proliferation of the Bible. And the first press that came out by Gutenberg was called the Gutenberg Press. And then other presses were introduced to the world. The Royal Bible Society wanted a better one, higher technology. They wanted more Bibles. Well, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur picked up on this idea. And recently, well, actually, right before the pandemic, I went to the museum at Bagh Bazaar in Calcutta. It wasn't opened yet, so I had to meet with the mahant of that place and convince him that, or tell him who I was. I wrote a book about printing, about books. I've been dedicated to book distribution. I was a disciple of Srila Prabhupada and so forth. He took some interest and he took me into the museum, which is now open, but at the time they didn't want anybody going in there and letting the cat out of the bag. And he took me to the third floor, and I walked in because I wanted specifically to see the printing press that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used. And this is the company that made it. When I saw it, I offered obeisances, and then I looked at the back of it, and it said on the side, Chandler and Price Gordon, Cleveland, Ohio. It was made in America. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta shipped printing presses all the way from America and had them running 24 hours a day. What's more, he put them next to the altar as a worshipable object. So, what are books? They are containers. What do they contain? Idea seeds. So, the word broadcast is a farming terminology. It means to throw seeds far and wide. And when you put books into society, the idea seeds within them spill out and they take root. And why is that effective in human society? Because human beings, well, let me ask you, what category of energy is a jivatma? Marginal potency. Does everyone agree? Give a thumbs up. Yes. And marginal potency means open to suggestion. That's why people advertise, because they know little jivas are marginal. They can go either way. Say, drink Coca-Cola, little jiva. And little jiva says, open a bottle of happiness? Sure, anytime. I'll drink sugar water with flavor in it and I'll get happiness, because he's open to suggestion. And people take advantage of that constantly. So the Shastras are there, and when we introduce them to people in society, the ideas spill out, and we'll notice that you can make social sea change in the world by introducing literature. It's not just a sentiment, it's not a hobby or a fad, it's not something quaint from the old days, it's a strategy. And it is the strategy that actually works. Prabhupada pointed out again and again how the Communist Party had embedded themselves in various parts of the world just by sending their literatures en masse and having them distributed. So how to do it, how to expand book distribution is not a mystery. It is a recipe. There's a recipe. Just like there's a recipe for chapatis. Yes? If you follow it, you can make good chapatis. So similarly, if you follow the recipe for success in book distribution, then you'll also be successful. His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj Ki Jai. Maharaj could come up.
Maharaj wants you to finish your class.
I'm never finished. So, with it,
So as soon as you settle down, then you can continue.
yeah. And I know I'm far enough along. With the mic. He has one.
He has one mic. Vaisesika has a mic.
Yes, Maharaj should.
He said he didn't want to interrupt you speaking.
I think I said enough, right?
He said, I think.
Yeah, I gave the legacy in a way that is clear, and I think, and hopefully unassailable. There's another section, and we'll have time for it tomorrow. And I think that it would be a perfect time for His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj to speak about it, and then later on, if there are some questions or whatever, then we can go from there. Hare Krishna.
Sorry? What did Mark pose? He was saying he's finished speaking. He's finished speaking for now. Whatever he wants to continue, he'll continue tomorrow. And now he'll let you speak.
Namo Vishnupadaya
Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale
Srimate Bhaktivedanta
Swami Niti Namine
Namaste Saraswati Deve
Gauravani Pracharine
Vaisesika Sandavadi
Paschatya Deshatarine
Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Hare Nama Krishna
Yadavaya Namaha
Gopal Govinda Ram
Shri Madhusudan
Mukha Karoti Vachalam
Pangolangayate Girim
Yati Tata Mahamande
Shri Gurum Dinatarinam
Paramananda Madhavam
Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram
Hare Ram Tat Sat. So I came to hear of Vaisesika Prabhu,
I came to hear from Vaisesika Prabhu,
but he took me and put me on the stage.
but he tricked me and put me on the stage.
Okay.
Anyways,
500 years ago, they didn't have many books.
500 years ago, they didn't have many books.
The books were handwritten on palm leaves.
The books were handwritten on palm leaves.
You could buy a book. You could buy a book
You'd buy a book
by giving your life.
by giving your life.
But now books are cheap.
But now books are cheap.
$5, $10.
$5, $10.
Before one book, your life.
Before one book, your life.
So we see that Srinivas Acharya and other personalities brought the books
We see that Srinivas Acharya and other personalities had brought books
from Vrindavan to Bengal,
from Vrindavan to Bengal,
but then they're stolen.
and then they were stolen.
And because the king of Birbhum, he had an astrologer who told him that these sadhus are bringing a priceless gift,
Because the
priceless treasure.
king from Birbhum, he had an astrologer tell him that these people are bringing a priceless gem, priceless treasure.
And his system was anyone who'd traveled to his country could steal from them.
And his system was anybody who traveled through his country, he would steal from them
If they had something worth stealing.
if they had something worth stealing.
And therefore he had this astrologer who did that.
And therefore he had this astrologer who did that.
So he told the thieves to go and steal the box,
So,
the treasure.
so they told he told the thieves to go and steal the box, the treasure,
But give the ring it back to him.
and bring it back
It
to
was
him.
so valuable that he didn't want the thieves to see it, and they steal from him.
It was so valuable that he didn't want the thieves to see it before bringing it to him.
And at that time, the Srinivasacharya, Narottam Thakur, Shamananda Pandit.
Srinivasacharya, Narottam Das Thakur, Shamananda Pandit.
They are taking the books back to Navadip, the Kali.
They were taking the books back to Navadip.
So they are the original manuscripts.
So they were the original manuscripts.
And so this king, he was so anxious to see the treasure.
So
the
this-
treasure! Right, this treasure! Wow!
So the king, he was so anxious to see the treasure, the priceless treasure.
When he got the thieves, they thought this was very easy. I thought they were all asleep.
So when he got there, it seemed very easy. The sadhus were all asleep.
And they took the books. I took the treasure. I didn't know what was in it.
So they took the treasure. They didn't know what it was in there.
And brought the chest back to the king.
And brought the chest back to the king.
And everybody left.
And
they opened up the treasure.
so when everyone left, they opened up the treasure.
Books!
Books.
Books!
Books.
He was looking. He couldn't understand it. No, the Chaitanya Charitamrita was on the top.
He was looking, he couldn't understand it. It was all like the Chaitanya Charitamrita on the top.
And he was amazed. And, oh no, I'd taken a literary treasure from sadhus.
So he was amazed and he was surprised. I've taken the literary treasure from sadhus.
And I'm really gonna be gonna do this and punish me.
So like this, I think the Yamadutas are now going to punish me.
So he told the thieves, please find who this box belongs to.
So he told the thieves to go and please find who this box belongs to.
And that's not, I mean, it's a long story, but Srinivasacharya, he told the others to go to your places. I was asked by the deity in Vrindavan to bring the books.
Anyways, it's a long story, but Srinivasacharya, he told that he was asked by the deities to bring the books.
So I'm responsible.
So I am responsible.
And as soon as I find them, I'll tell you.
As soon as I find them, I'll tell you.
So in those days, it was very hard to distribute books.
Anyways, in those days, it was very hard to distribute books.
You had to hand copy them.
You had to hand copy them.
And the price, and it's such a big effort to hand copy.
In the price, it was such a big effort to hand
People would
copy.
pay for their whole life.
People would pay for their whole life.
Learn the books, and they would teach the books.
And they would,
They would and they learn the books, and they teach them.
they'd learn the books and teach them.
So now, books are the basis, but we got all these books, they're the basis of our whole ideology.
So now books are the basis. They are the base, the philosophy, they are the whole ideology.
And since recently now, it's possible to mass produce books.
So since recently now it's possible to mass produce books.
I remember Prabhupada went to Japan on the way to India, and he was talking with Dynavant.
So I remember when Srila Prabhupada went to Japan and on his way to India, he was talking to Diana Bach.
At first, he's putting the books in Japan and different places.
So at first he was printing the books in Japan in different places.
When I joined there are no books.
When I joined, there were no books.
Finally, there was the Macmillan Gita.
Finally, there was the Macmillan Gita.
Prabhupada said you had to read that 10 times before initiation.
Prabhupada said you had to read that 10 times before
I still have one
initiation.
book. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So I still have that Gita. It has those marks, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a cross across. 1, 2, 3, 4, and cross.
So now books are available. Prabhupada had, actually, I saw in Mayapur, Prabhupada with great effort. He wrote every night.
So now books are available, and I saw in Mayapur where Srila Prabhupada, to translate, he went through great effort.
He would translate on a dictaphone,
He would translate on a dictaphone,
and that transcriptions be sent to the BBT.
the transcriptions would be sent to the BBT,
And he'd get up every night at 12 or 1 and be translating.
and he'd get up and every night at 12 or 1 and be
I
translating.
had this Srimad Bhagavatam with, I forget, 7 or 8 tikas.
He had this Srimad Bhagavatam which I forget, 7 or 8 tikas.
Then previous acharyas had written something on a particular verse.
And different previous acharyas had written something on a particular verse.
It was all in Sanskrit.
It was all in Sanskrit.
Prabhupada would read it, and then from his own personal realization, plus
Prabhupada would
what
read
the
it.
previous acharyas had spoken,
Srila Prabhupada would read it, and then from his own personal realization, from
he'd
some
write his purports.
previous acharyas, he'd write the purports.
Sometimes he would call for me
Sometimes he would call for me
at 2 in the morning.
at 2 in the morning.
So the secretary come knocking on my door. Ron wants to see you.
Srila Prabhupada, his secretary would knock on my door and said, Srila Prabhupada wants to see you.
I'd wash my face, feet coming out.
Wash my face, feet, go all down.
I saw Prabhupada. He had a mosquito net over him,
I saw Srila Prabhupada, he'd have a mosquito net over him,
and he'd be translating.
and he'd be translating.
Then he'd say, whatever he wanted to say, he'd tell me.
Then he'd say whatever I wanted to say, he'd tell me.
I was 7:24. Anytime he wanted me, I'd go.
So I was 724. Anytime he wanted me, I'd go.
I would see how he was translating his book.
So I would see how he was translating the books.
So he had this great effort to translate all the books.
So he went through this great effort to translate all the books.
Why?
Why?
So he would read them.
So we would read them.
He'd understand the Krishna conscious philosophy.
We would understand the Krishna conscious philosophy.
So we have the great good fortune to be able to distribute these books,
So we have the great good fortune to be able to distribute these books.
read them, and distribute them.
Read them and distribute them.
Now he said that he didn't want people, devotees, that people say, what's in the book?
He said he didn't want people, devotees, that people would ask, what is in this book?
No, I don't know, I just saw them.
Oh, I don't know, I just sell them.
He didn't want that.
He didn't want that.
You believe in the book, you believe in the philosophy,
You believe in the book, you believe in the philosophy,
and you distribute it.
and you distribute it.
Between Delhi and Myanmar, a big competition.
Between Delhi and Mayapur, there's a big competition.
I was sick, and I was in Delhi.
So I was sick in Delhi.
I saw the secret.
And then I saw their secret.
The temple president, starting in October, he'd go to every single devotee,
So temple
every
president,
Nalhat, every Bhaktivedanta, every ranch,
so the temple president, he'd go to every devotee, every Namhata, every Bhakti Vriksha, every branch,
and ask, what goal, how many books do you distribute in
and,
a
he,
marathon?
and he'd ask, what goal, how many books will you distribute in the marathon?
And he got some people, one old man, he said, I'll distribute 5,000 Bhagavad Gita.
One old man, he'd said, I'll distribute 5,000 Bhagavad Gitas.
He would stop, he'd go in front of a car in the stoplight, he won't move.
And
He
he
said, I won't leave unless you buy Bhagavad Gita.
He would stop in front of the car in the stoplights, and he said, and he would say, I won't leave unless you buy a book.
That's a little way, but he was doing that, was it 60 or 70? And he was distributing like that.
I mean, he was like 60 or 70, and he was distributing like that.
Everybody had a quota. Everybody had a quota.
Everybody had a quota.
And so I told Mayapur, this is the secret.
So I told Mayapur, this is the secret.
Everybody has to distribute books.
Everybody has
Every
to distribute
man, woman,
books.
child,
Every man,
everybody.
woman, child, old man.
And we had our
So we started.
10 bus parties.
So we had like 10 bus parties in the beginning.
But that was very good, but it was not enough.
But that was very good, but that wasn't enough.
So we had the different book tables, different devotees, different divisions.
So now we have the different book tables, different
Namhat.
devotees, different divisions, Namhata.
So that by that way, everybody got out, and the whole temple became fixed on the book distribution.
So like in that way, then everybody got out and the whole temple became fixed on book
Then
distribution.
for the Bhadra Purnima, we wanted to break the record.
So on the Bhadra Purnima, we wanted to break the record,
Sets of Bhagavatam,
selling sets of Bhagavatam.
and Bhaktivedanta Swami, he was very dedicated. Every function, every chance he had, he distributed books.
Bhakti Vijay Bhagavat Swami, he was very dedicated. Every function, every chance he had, he would distribute books
Distributed sets of Bhagavatam,
and distribute sets of Srimad Bhagavatam.
600 sets, 700 sets, one person.
600 sets, 700 sets.
So I'd also, I went not able to go on the street, so I would go through the online.
So I'm not able to go on the street, so I'd also distribute online.
I think I remember Lord Chaitanya, he would chant Hare Krishna,
So I'm thinking of Lord Chaitanya, and he would chant Hare Krishna,
he did the Sankirtan Yoga,
do the Sankirtan Yagya,
and then the devotees came down from Bengal to Jagannath Puri.
and when devotees came down from Bengal to Jagannath Puri,
He did Kirtan around the Jagannath Puri temple.
he'd do Kirtan around the Jagannath Puri temple.
And he had 4 parties,
And he had 4 parties.
and he was in the middle. Each party, they had 8 mridangos, 32 kartals.
In each party, they had 8 mridangas, 32 kartals total.
And each party had a dancer.
And in each party, they had a
Dancer was
dancer.
very important.
The dancer was very important.
He danced, and they chant. They didn't have any loudspeaker like this. They have 5 people would chant together.
So he'd dance, and because they didn't have the loudspeaker, they'd have 5 people chanting at once together.
And the whole party would respond.
And then the whole crowd would respond.
They had a type of outside chanting.
So we had
dancing,
they had Advaita Gosai chanting, dancing.
They had Srivas Thakur.
They had Srivas Thakur.
They had what's his name?
Vakreshwara Pandit.
Who chants 72 hours?
Vakreshwara Pandit.
Huh?
Vakreshwara Pandit.
Rakrashtan Pandit. He was an avatar of Aniruddha.
So there's Vakreshwara Pandit. He was avatar of Aniruddha.
He could chant 72 hours non-stop.
He could chant 72 hours non-stop.
Like this, they'd have 4 different parties, and Lord Chaitanya did the middle.
And like this, they'd have 4 different parties and Lord Chaitanya in the middle.
So that was the way they do Kirtan, by Harinam.
And that's how they would do Kirtan, the Harinam.
They would come close, and Lord Chaitanya would embrace them.
And anyone who would come close, then Lord Chaitanya would embrace them.
After that, on the order of Lord Chaitanya, 6 Goswamis, Krishna Kaviraj,
After that, Lord Chaitanya, the followers, the 6 Goswamis, Kashiras Kaviraj,
they wrote books.
they wrote books.
Those books, I said, were brought back to Bengal and stolen.
And so when they were being brought back to Bengal, they were stolen.
And then Srinivas Acharya, he heard that this king, he liked to hear Raga class.
So Srinivasa Acharya, he heard that the king, he liked to hear Bhagavatam class.
He went to the king's palace,
So he went to the king's palace.
and he heard the Raga class.
He heard the Bhagavatam class.
But he was making faces, very, very bad class.
Oh, who was giving the Bhagavatam class?
So it was very visible that he was making faces and stuff.
The king went to someone else's Bhagavatam class and he saw the person was making very bad faces.
You don't like the class?
He asked, you didn't like the class?
He said, no,
No,
it's not one right.
it's not bona fide.
Okay, you go another class,
Okay, you give another class.
you come here.
You come here.
You go to class.
He gave
If
class.
it's not better, we're going to kill you.
If it's not better, we'll kill you.
So, heavy pressure class.
High pressure in class.
You get a class, and everybody was swept on their feet.
He gave a class and everybody swept under the feet.
He personally trained by Sri Jiva Swami.
He was personally trained by Sri Jiva
He
Goswami.
could really give a class.
He could really give a class.
That's why he got the name Acharya Bhat.
That's why he got the name Acharya Pad.
No, he was able to give a class, and the king realized this may be the person that owns the books.
So he was
So
able to
he
give the
brought
class,
them back.
and the king thought that this person may be the person that owns the books. So he brought them back
Privately,
privately.
he asked, who are you? What's your purpose?
So he asked him, who are you? What's your purpose?
And he explained how they had brought the books
So he,
from Vrindavan.
he explained how he brought the books
They
from
were
Vrindavan.
stolen. And then the king fell down on his feet, prayed, please forgive me. I took the books.
So the king fell down at his feet. He prayed, please forgive me. I took your books.
He said, let me see the books. Let me see them. And he saw the same case and the books of it.
So then Srinivas said, let me see them. And he saw the same case.
And he opened the book,
He opened the book,
all the case,
saw
saw the Chaitanya Charitamrita
saw
on
the
top.
Chaitanya Charitamrita on the top.
All the books of the Goswamis.
All the books of the
Bhakti
Goswamis.
Rasamrita Sindhu.
Bhakti
Nectar of
Rasamrita
Devotion.
Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion.
They're all there.
They're all there.
He was so relieved.
He was so relieved.
King asked him, please take me as your disciple.
The king asked him, please take me as your disciple.
And the Raj Guru, you have to be a Grihastha.
So to be a Raj Guru, you have to be a Grihastha.
And because you have to, to guide the king
Because you have to
how to do Garvan Samsara with it.
guide the king how to do Garbhadam Sanskar and so on.
Think about it. He went and talked to Narahari
He went and talked to Narahari
and asked him whether he should accept being Raj Guru, that's king.
and asked him if he should be the Raj Guru for this king.
And I told him, Narahari told him to do it.
Narahari told him, do
Make
it.
the whole kingdom Krishna conscious.
Then you can make the whole kingdom Krishna, he will make the whole kingdom Krishna conscious.
Anyway, I could tell you all about Srinivasacharya.
Anyways, I'm telling you a little about
He
Srinivasacharya.
got the books back.
So he got the books
He
back,
got them copied.
he got them
and
copied
started distributing it.
and started distributing them.
Now, we've written how many millions?
How many millions? How many millions have we?
How many millions of copies?
Copies? 500.
Huh?
500 million? In total, how many have we been able to print?
70 million.
70 million? 70 million?
So, how fortunate people are to get these books.
How fortunate people are to get these books.
As I said before, the price before was your life.
Like I had said before, the price before was your life.
But they're getting the books out, people read. And I gave my doctor in Dallas.
So, but we are giving the books out and people can read them. Like I gave the doctor in Dallas, my
Yeah.
doctor, Bhagavad Gita as it is.
And then Dr. Hafiz said that when I read the book, I understand that I always pray to God to give me this, give me that.
So then the Dr. Hopkins was saying that I always prayed, now I understand because previously I'd always prayed to God, what can I get from him?
And he heard the lecture before. So he said that now I understand by reading the book, we should ask God what we can do for him.
So now after reading the book, she said we should ask God, what can we do for him?
That we always ask him to give us the tools that, but actually we should be asking him what we can do for him.
We always asking God, give me this, give me that, but actually we should ask God, what can we do for him?
But that's a person just knew got the book.
That's a person just new who got a book.
She didn't know how do you pronounce the person who got the Bhagavad Gita spoken to him.
So she wanted to, she asked how to pronounce the name of the person that the Gita was spoken to.
So then someone told her that it's Arjuna. Like R, the letter R, and June, the month June. Arjuna.
So someone told her you can say R and then the month, pronounce the month June, Arjun.
Oh, right on.
So she said, oh,
Arjun.
Arjun.
So, by Bhagavad Gita, by Srimad Bhagavatam, people understand so much.
So by Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, people understand so much.
People don't know anything about the Supreme.
People don't know anything about the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Here, they get the opportunity to understand.
Here they get the opportunity to understand.
that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a person.
That the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a person.
That our purpose is to serve Him.
And that our purpose is to serve Him.
So this acharyas, they took great effort, Prabhupada took great effort to see that the books are preserved.
The Acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, he took great effort to see that the books, the message was preserved.
I mean, I'll leave us no Sanskrit, I don't know. Very few, I think.
I was in Wisconsin.
Prabhupada, he translated English, and others translated into many other languages.
So Srila Prabhupada, he translated into English, and others have translated into other languages.
So, the great, we're thankful for Vaisesika Prabhu for inspiring everybody in his good books.
So I'm very thankful to Vaisesika Prabhu for inspiring everybody to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books.
So my disciples, in Silicon Valley, and they're engaged in distributing books.
So in Silicon Valley, there he engages so many in distributing Srila Prabhupada's books.
And on the online, sometimes you have the account with him and associate.
So online also, sometimes he invites me and I come to him to have his association.
He thanks so much to enthuse us to distribute these books.
So thank you so much to enthusing us to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books.
And, so I just want to say to Srila Prabhupada, he made a great effort to translate these books.
So just want to say that Srila Prabhupada, he went through a great effort to translate these books.
And I've read his books many times.
I've read his books many times.
The Mayapur Institute wanted to give me an honorary degree.
Mayapur Institute wanted to give me an honorary degree.
And I said, no, I'll take the test.
So I said, no, I'll take the test.
I took my test, I got the Bhakti Vaibhav.
And I took my test and got my Bhakti
And
Vaibhav.
now taking the test for Bhaktivedanta degree.
Now I'm taking a test for Bhaktivedanta
I
degree.
hope that everybody reads Prabhupada books, gets their degrees.
I hope that everybody
distributes them.
reads Srila Prabhupada's books, gets their degrees and distributes them.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj ki. His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu ki. Thank you. Thank you all for listening. And if I ask you, if there's any one key message that you are taking back home today, what's that? Books are the basis. Study the book. Somebody here said read and distribute the books. I think that I picked up that. Read the books, believe in philosophy, distribute the books. Anybody else? Sorry? Teach others. Yes, teach each others. Yes. Pass the exam. Pass the exams. Yes, get the degree. There was one thing that Vaisesika Prabhu mentioned that actually has struck with me. Anybody remember? We are a... Yes, I think I would like to everyone to repeat that. We are a sampradaya of books. Very, very important message, because yes, Prabhupada says, chant and be happy, have Krishna Prasad. But yes, we are a sampradaya of books. That is our basis, that is our foundation. And like Srila Prabhupada mentioned in one letter, that books actually purify our intelligence, and which helps to purify our mind and our heart. And a purified heart and a purified mind is Krishna consciousness. Hari Bol. Thank you. I also would like to ask Vaisesika Prabhu, I know you had to stop in between. Could we have some concluding words from you, if you'd like to share anything?
We have a campaign called Bhadra Purnima Campaign. When we decide that anything's possible, when we serve Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we can take that liberty because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has ordered everyone to cover the earth with Krishna consciousness. And Kaviraj Goswami has said that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the greatest capitalist. In Silicon Valley, when people want to start an enterprise, they go to a venture capitalist and they ask, here, I have an idea, please give me some capital so I can start it. Did you say it?
I'm just repeating whatever you're saying.
But did you say the last part? They go to the venture capitalist, they say, I have an idea, so please give me backing, monetary backing. So if anyone decides that he or she will help to expand the Sankirtan movement, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was ready to back you, just as he backed Srila Prabhupada. We are spiritual entrepreneurs. We have to take risk. No risk, no fun in life. No taking chances, life is boring. And the most exciting of all ventures is to go out into public, the great unknown, to approach anyone and everyone, and just try to give them Krishna consciousness. Book distribution is especially practical. As I mentioned before, humans love books. They've been in human society since the very beginning. One way or another, various cultures learn how to write things down on various surfaces so they can disseminate knowledge. So we have the best of all knowledge. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the pinnacle of all knowledge, the fruit of the Vedas. And recently we discovered, within the last 5 years, a verse in the 12th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam that says, when you give the gift of Srimad Bhagavatam on the full moon day in the month of Bhadra, then the giver gets the return gift of going back to the supreme destination. That verse has always been there, of course. But until we decided that we would increase the distribution of Bhagavatams, we didn't notice it. So Krishna reveals after you decide you're going to do it. Mugrari had to break his bow first before Narada would give him all the information. So now, all over the world, devotees are participating in Bhadra Purnima. We started off with a goal to distribute 10,000 books, and in the first 2 years we only did 7,000 in the world. That's too long. I'll finish in a minute. And then we got the greatest gift of the pandemic. Yay! Yay, pandemic. And in the very beginning, when it started, everyone said, now it's impossible. Except we decided to change the slogan. And that slogan became, assume it can be done. And then we distributed over 20,000 books during the pandemic in 1 year for Bhadra Purnima. And then the next year, just in case it was a fluke, we decided to try again, and we distributed 35,000. And then we thought, well, maybe that just happened by chance. So we decided the next year to make a bigger goal. In 2022, worldwide, the devotees distributed 45,000. Our goal worldwide this year is 55,000. And our long-term goal is towards 2026, in which we've decided that we'll pray to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to distribute at least 100,008 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, in conclusion, we invite everyone, His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj has empowered all of us now, inviting us all to take up this activity. Anyone who tries becomes greatly fortunate. Divyanam Prabhu asked me to request you, please, everyone make a pledge to at least distribute one set of Srimad Bhagavatams each. A pledge means something more than 0 and not less than 1. And the minute you make the pledge, you'll notice that Lord Chaitanya will come to your dreams, or you'll come in your mind, and He'll instruct you how to do it. This is the best of Buddhi Yoga, as Krishna mentions in the Gita. We thank all the leaders here at the Manor and all over UK for giving such good direction and guiding us, organizing this yatra so that we can do something significant to smash Kali Yuga, because we're sick of it, right? No mas. Let's do something amazing while we're here on this planet and cover the earth with Srimad Bhagavatam in every language possible. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Panchatattva, Shri Radha Gokulananda, please empower us to smash our Srimad Bhagavatam goals this year here in the UK and Europe. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Gaur Premanande Haribol.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so we are now moving towards the concluding part of our evening. So we have two things left. We will have His Grace Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu. He will speak, he'll share a little bit update about the Bhadra campaign at Bhaktivedanta Manor. But before you go home, please don't forget, we have a small token of prasad and love from His Holiness Jayapataka Swami and His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu. So we will queue up after that. But please do take your prasad before you go home, and I think that should help us to then close for the evening. So, Prabhu, if you can come and share.
Hare Krishna. So, dear devotees, we've just heard from one of our great generals, actually both of our great generals.
Maharaj will be right back. Sorry. Back in a couple minutes. Please go ahead.
So, Commander-in-Chief Srila Prabhupada has given the order and expressed his desire that he wants every respectable home to have a full set of Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Vaisesika Prabhu has just explained how the goal is expanded, and this year it's 55,000 sets around the world.
Maharaj will be right back. Just coming back.
His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj ki. So, Vaisesika Prabhu was explaining to us how the worldwide goal is a phenomenal, unparalleled 55,000 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. So every region of the world, the devotees are taxing their brains on how to distribute Srila Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam set. In one lecture Srila Prabhupada gave when he arrived in America, he told the devotees, simply by thinking how to do, simply by thinking how to do, we are already liberated. What to speak of when we actually do? And Srila Prabhupada also in one lecture in New Vrindavan in 1972, he asked the devotees a question. What is the main symptom? What is the primary symptom? What is the most important symptom of love? And Srila Prabhupada, different devotees vouched for an answer, and then Srila Prabhupada said, the primary symptom, the most important symptom of love is that the devotee wants to see the glories of his Lord distributed all over the world. And there is no other book that gives us the glories of Lord Krishna more gloriously than Srimad Bhagavatam. So coming back to the Bhadra campaign, 55,000 sets around the world. At Bhaktivedanta Manor, our goal for this year is 720 sets. So, relatively speaking, it's a small goal. India distributes about 30,000 sets of Bhagavatam. But Bhaktivedanta Manor is recognized as one of the most important and main temples in the world, spearheading Krishna consciousness in a very novel and unique way. So I'm just looking around the room today. So far, the campaign runs from April to September. So far, we've distributed only 60 sets. So we've started and we floundered on the campaign at the beginning. Now we need a boost. We need a real boost, and we need more soldiers. Srila Prabhupada was very fond of using the metaphor of an army. So the generals have given the order, 55,000 sets. Our Commander-in-Chief, Srila Prabhupada, has given the order. We just need to mobilize the soldiers now and execute the order. So we will get a tremendous boost today if all of the devotees, all of Srila Prabhupada's followers in the UK and Bhaktivedanta Manor make a pledge. As Vaisesika Prabhu says, our pledge is our wedge.
I pledge one set for the UK marathon.
Jai Haribo! So a humble
Not
request.
just pledging, I'll give you the money today, I'll take the set.
Jai Haribo. Leading from the front as always. So our humble request is, we have so many devotees here. If each of you all, we humbly request you can come forward and say, I make a pledge to either take, distribute, or sponsor one set of Srimad Bhagavatam. During the Bhadra campaign, we will have a tremendous boost. So dear devotees, before you go, all you have to do is, we have this armbands. You put around your wrist. On it is written, assume it can be done. So if you can come up and collect your armband either from Jayapataka Swami or Vaisesika Prabhu, that is your pledge. So every day you see this band on your arm, it's your pledge that you're going to distribute. Actually try. Some devotees feel intimidated by being asked. So this year we have set a goal of 7,200 presentations. And the assumption is that for every 10 people we approach, one will take. And we want 7,200 pledges also to commit to the Bhagavatam presentations. So thank you very much, everyone, for giving me some time to speak about the campaign. It's a glorious campaign.
Pledge one set, and you get to wear a band. I'm wearing one because I just pledged.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. That was nice. I need a mic. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, everyone. So we are having.
Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj is pledging a set.
Hare Krishna, everyone. So we are now having the Kirtan team set up here. What I would request is, please, if you all can queue up on this side of the stage, near to Jayapataka Maharaj. And kids first, of course, so that children can take darshan and blessings. There is also a book table there which has Vaisesika Prabhu's his family business book. So if anybody would like to buy, please take a copy from there. Please, can I request everyone to queue up nicely? Yeah, this way, please.
Hare Krishna, everyone. So please, if devotees could just make a line all the way circle. Don't try to come in the row at the back. There is a queue if you can see. And then once you have taken your cookie and your pledging band for one Bhagavatam set, you can exit out of the door because we need to get the hall ready for tomorrow.
Hare Krishna, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, please devotees try not to pay your obeisances here because we have around over 300 devotees we need to get through because all of you are so eager to distribute Bhagavatam set. So we need, please pay your obeisances when you come off the stage.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
And at the
Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Everybody sing Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Bolo bolo. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Bolo bolo.
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna
Haribo
Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna